I just want to point out before I start this video, I've become a little bit more of an introvert, and now I'm starting to make these YouTube videos, which is weird because you'd think that if you're more extroverted, then you'd have the spirit to do this, but I don't know. Okay. I feel like my life has taken a change. For better or for worse, I'm not too sure. I used to be that kid who was very outgoing. I could stand up in front of the class. I could lead a group. I was that leader in the crowd. But over the past little while, I would say 3 months, I've become a little bit more introverted. And I don't think I've lived the lives of both an extrovert and introvert, but I do think I've seen the perspectives of both sides. And in this video, I want to compare being an extrovert to being an introvert. I also want to show you some of the advantages and disadvantages and how you can use the qualities of an extrovert and an introvert to get the most out of your life. If that sounds interesting to you, make sure you watch to the end of this video and let's get into it. Hi guys, and welcome back to DBX Insights. My name is Daniel, and our purpose here is to take the average person and make them extraordinary, take you beyond the herd. Okay, now of course in this video we're talking about life as an introvert versus an extrovert, and I want to start with being extroverted because that's somewhere where I think I have the most expertise. For most of my life, I was an extrovert. I was that kid who could jump up in front of the class. I have so many memories of me either doing a presentation or me speaking up in front of the class, trying to persuade my teacher so that I would favor myself or my class, the people around me. I always led groups as well. That's another thing. Whether we were playing soccer or we were playing tag or anything, I was the group organizer. I was that person that could lead the group, tell people where they need to go, and with really no fear. Life as an extrovert was exciting. I was constantly pushing new boundaries. In being so outgoing, you don't have much of a fear of interacting with new people because you do it so often. Socially, I was pushing boundaries every day as I would meet new people. If there was a new kid, I would always say hello. I would try to see where they came from, get to know a little bit about them. And with, I guess you could say, that social superiority, that came with a little bit of a sense of satisfaction, knowing that you're that confident kid. You're the kid who can lead the group. You're the kid who can show everyone what they need to do. And you kind of radiate some kind of confidence, okay? And people want to be around those who are confident because they want to resonate with them. They want to get on that level. Being that kid who was extroverted, being that kid who was always excited to meet new people, and who wasn't scared to lead that group, someone who was confident, that gave me a sense of satisfaction knowing that other people wanted to be like me. Not that I had some kind of social superiority, but just because I was confident and I could be myself around all these other people. Now with being that extroverted kid, the kid who was always loud, that class clown, sometimes there are some bad things that go with it. And one of the bad things I definitely learned the hard way was not having a filter. In being extroverted and being so social, you're constantly pushing boundaries. That could be pushing boundaries within relationships, and sometimes you go way beyond those boundaries. I'll give you an example. When I was in grade 10, my religion teacher, Mr. Calendar, I love this guy, but I made a really dumb comment that involved his daughter and my friend who was in my class. And he was really pissed, rightfully so. I had to stay after class, of course. I apologized. But I really want to thank Mr. Calendar if he ever sees this video, because that taught me an amazing lesson. That was a point where I realized that I really need to watch what I say and be careful what I say, that my words actually have an impact. Up to that point, I was really like willy-nilly with my words. I would say whatever I want, and that taught me to use my words a little bit more wisely, because I feel that my teacher, Mr. Calendar, thought of me fondly. You know, I was a good student. I got good marks. I would always pay attention in class, but when I made that comment, I feel like he lost a lot of respect for me. And that's something that you gotta be wary of if you're going to be extroverted and so social and looking to push boundaries all the time. You gotta realize where the boundaries are. You could push them, but not push them too far, because sometimes you can't go back. And that's one of the hard lessons I unfortunately had to learn. Another downside of being really extroverted is that you're not a great observer. You can be a great observer, but not to the best of your abilities, and I'm going to explain why. Think about this. We could take in a lot of information when we're just steady and we're observing. But when you're extroverted, you're constantly social. You're constantly screaming, you're yelling, you're saying hello, you're doing all these things, and you can miss out on a lot that's going around you. If you were to just stay there, stay put, just look around in the moment, you'll probably observe a lot more than if you're constantly interacting and, saying hi to all these people and stuff like that. It's the same thing as this saying about listening. It's hard to listen when you're always talking. And that's a problem that you can run into if you're trying to observe your surroundings and you're really extroverted, you're really social all the time. Sometimes you need to take a break. And that leads us now into becoming introverted. And over the past 3 months, I've become a little bit more introverted, not necessarily by choice, but just because of my environment. Over the past year or so, I've really spoken to a lot less people, and over the past 3 months, it's really been hitting me hard. I sometimes go 2 or 3 days without speaking to someone outside my household. And that might not seem like such a big deal, but I'm really to myself a lot, and that has an effect on your mind. I'm really to myself a lot, and the thing is, I went from being super social to basically isolated. Now, I don't know if this is true for all introverts, but I can say this is true for myself. I don't necessarily think I'm shy. I'm not a shy person, but the thing is, sometimes when I'm out in public, I just don't want to talk. One thing that I notice is talking is like working a muscle. The more you work it, the better at it you are, and the longer you can talk for. I found since I was in my room by myself for most of my days, talking can sometimes be exhausting, just like making these videos. These videos can sometimes be 10 minutes long of me just straight talking. And the thing is, after these videos, I'm exhausted. I sometimes barely say anything for an hour or two afterwards because I kind of need to regain that energy. Another thing I found, maybe just being by myself or becoming more introverted, is that sometimes I get annoyed when people talk too much. For most people, this is probably true, but you don't even have to be talking too much. Sometimes you can talk, and I just decided in my mind that I've had enough and I just need to go. I just can't stand it anymore. Now let's get into some of the upsides of being an introvert. One of the upsides that I noticed from being more introverted is that you're a better observer. Hopefully I said it good before, but if I didn't, I'm just going to clarify again. When you speak less, you notice more. The more you take the time to just stand there and watch your surroundings, you really get a sense of what's going on. You can feel the breeze. You notice who's talking to who. You notice the different emotions on people's faces. These are the things you observe when you're still, you're calm, and you're just there not talking. You're just there ready to observe. Some other things I notice when being more introverted is that I'm definitely calmer. I'm a calmer person. That may be because I'm not always shouting or screaming or raising my blood pressure all the time because I'm going crazy. But I'm also more emotionally stable. This can be because I don't always need to be with someone else in order to feel happy. I can feel happy on my own. Just too much time on my own, that plays around with anyone, right? So it's good to value your alone time, but you should also be interacting with other people. The last thing is, once again, yes, I value my alone time. It's not that I didn't value my alone time as an extrovert, but as an introvert, I find more time to really find happiness within myself. Over the past little while, I've really become my own best friend. I think I'm very funny. I make myself laugh a lot, and I do have a good time on my own. Now, I hope this video didn't seem like I'm just bashing extroverts and upraising introverts. I think there's great qualities in both of them, and I don't really think anyone is just an extrovert or someone's just an introvert. I think different scenarios bring out different sides of people. I think some things to take away from this video are extroverts, they push themselves to go beyond their boundaries. They may say some crazy things sometimes, but if you can understand the boundaries, you know where to push it and where not to go beyond. That's where you want to be. That is your zone of growth. Extroverts also display a lot of confidence. That's another thing. Walk out with your head high, be confident, say hello to other people. Where the side of you of being an introvert can kind of come into play is that you don't always have to be so screamingly crazy or, outgoing. You can sometimes just take the time to sit back, relax, and observe your surroundings. An example being, let's say you're being extroverted, you're the leader, you're showing everyone what they need to do. Stop for a second, bring back that inner introvert and be a little observant, be stationary, be calm for a second, and really look at everyone around you so that you can do the best job that you need to do at that moment. Another thing where you can mix a combination of the two is when you're hanging out with your friends. Value your time with your friends, but also value your alone time. Look to find some joy within yourself, some way that you can make yourself happy so that you're not always reliant on other people. This was just a little video on my insights on being an extrovert versus an introvert. I don't think that one is necessarily better than the other, but I think that using both in harmony can be a very deadly combination if you're trying to kill life. Alright, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you stayed to the end, of course, like this video, subscribe for God's sakes. I hope you enjoyed, and take care, guys.